Welcome to Tameside Bossing It. In the office today, I am joined by Dave from C2C Pest Control. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, Are you enjoying your brew?
Yes, I love that.
I know, I haven't had a sip of mine yet. Right, okay, so you watched some of the podcasts already, haven't you?
Yeah, I've watched pretty much all.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Brilliant. Yeah, it's a good insight into everyone's business. Sam Aspin's was fantastic. Dom's was great. It was nice and open, and you got a lot of his background with that.
Yeah.
Phil's was fantastic as well. And obviously Joel's and Lisa's, and a few of the others.
Joe's was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, about Man United.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, you know the format. I always quickly brief over it. So what we'll do is we'll get to C2C later on.
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to take you, because so yours is again slightly different. So you don't own the business,
No.
but you are a big part of it.
That's correct.
So, and obviously, having spoken to you previously, and we know each other now through our business networkings that we do. I wanted to bring you in and discuss you before we get to how you came to be at C2C. So take it back to school days, and then we'll talk from there and we'll move forward.
Yeah, so my school went to Stanford. Up the road's no longer there now. Enjoyed it. Spent a lot of time truant, playing basketball and going off playing football and what have you. And I did well at school academically. And the back end of it though, not so much. My own work and what have you, I kind of like put to one side and never did it. The teachers were always saying, you academically you're fantastic, you're very intelligent, but it's just putting the pen to paper and finishing the last bit. So when I left school, I had no intentions of going into college, no intentions of going into university.
Was it why? Is it just not you, do you think?
I just wanted to earn money. I wanted to work. My father was a big role model in that respect. He had his own building company and he just worked 7 days a week flat out. I'd often see him coming home covered in dust, and I just liked his work ethic really. So I knew straight away from 16 I wanted to go straight into employment, start earning money for myself rather than sponging off my mum and dad basically. Yeah. So that's how it went. So my first job was Hepworth Coatings over in Guy Bridge in the mill. I went to see the chap, his own little private business, but he did epoxy powder coatings for fridges and what have you.
So what is that? First, for doesn't know what is that?
In respect to it's so it's basically they'll strip down metals and get rid of all the grease and what have you, dip it into an acid tank, bring it out, spray it up, and then essentially put it into an oven to come out with a coated paint. And you see them in the bars and whatever. It's them type really, them fridges, like a black, matte black finish and what have you. So yeah, I stayed there for a short period of time, having checked my first pay packet, £60 in there, and I thought that's not going to last a weekend. So I kind of I queried the wage, and I said to him, it's not for me really. From there, I went over to a company which no longer exists, but it was over in Ashton, top end, which was Ashton Foods. And they did all like your hams, your bacon slices, your turkeys, the stuff you see on the shelves in your supermarkets. And I really enjoyed that job initially, and then got laid off towards Christmas due to staffing issues with them. Went off to a couple of agencies because I was still hungry for work. So I went and worked at Cadbury's World in Birmingham, dealing with packaging for obviously selection boxes and what have you.
How old are you this time?
I would have been turning 17, I'd say.
And you went to Birmingham just to work?
Yeah, so we just down the road here, there was an agency, recruitment agency, and they used to take us in a minibus. We'd get up at like 5 in, get there 5:05. They'd drive us down to Birmingham and head straight away on the production line. Wow. Working with the likes of the old school chocolates like Taz bars and what have you. So, yeah, it was an eye opener. Again, money wasn't great on it.
But you'd go there for the day?
Yeah, I'd go for there for a full shift and then the drive us back. So it's quite intense. But they were a good group of people around us, so we had a good laugh on the way there and on the way back. The work was intense while we was there. It was just flat out, minimum breaks and what have you. But it was an experience, and I was just hungry to earn money. And then I got offered the job back at Ashton Foods on a continental shift, working evenings, nights, and then retrospectively mornings on certain weeks. And I loved it. Worked under a lady called Angie Pratt, fantastic supervisor. and she nurtured me to become a junior charge hand. So I was in charge of a conveyor belt full of ham slicing, productivity and what have you. And I enjoyed it. It was a good job. I did that for I think it was around about 2 years. Well, just under 2 years it was. And then from there I went into the army. And going back slightly from that, when I was at Ashton Foods, I was speaking to a few of the elder gentlemen who were like in their 40s, 50s. And I broached them and said, me and a few of the friends have worked to a recruitment office in Manchester. We're going to join the army. And he says, why would you want to do that? You won't last on Shankill Road in Northern Ireland, this, that, and the other. You won't listen to orders. And it was all like negative, putting me down. So straight away that I flipped that on his head and I thought, I'm going to come back here and prove a point further down the line. So off we went, me and my friends.
Why did they think that of you though?
I don't know if it was an element of jealousy. It's something they may have wanted to do, a bit of banter. I didn't get it at the time because being young and naive, I had my mindset on what I wanted to do. I had tunnel vision that I was joining the army and that's all I wanted to do.
And had any of those guys been in the army? No. Right, okay.
So me and around about 4 friends went off to the careers office to go for the initial assessment. And growing up, these lads were your typical gentlemen, let's say. So we get to the office and they're like, right, have you got any criminal records? And a few started saying, yeah, I've got TWOC, I've got criminal damage, this, that, and the other. And it was me at the back, the smallest and the youngest out of them. And I said, no, I've got no criminal records. So they kind of pushed them to one side and focused on me then.
Yeah.
And there was a chap there called Carl Ledden, who's King's Regiment, but I was actually going in to join the Marines initially under a guy called Simmel, who I knew from a family friend. He asked me to go down the careers office. He said, bring your mate, so let's talk about joining the Royal Marines. But something resonated with a chap called Carl Ledden, who's sadly not with us anymore due to an incident in close protection over in Iraq. But he kind of asked me, he said, look, you into fighting? Do you like fighting? Do you like boxing? I said, yeah, I like stuff like that. Do you like sport? Yeah, I love sport. Well, your regiment, what you could join, are over in Cyprus at the moment. And this is a Manchester, Liverpool City regiment, and there's no other like it. So it kind of got my blood flowing that. And I thought, well, this is something I could do, and I'd love to go to Cyprus. I've only been away once a few years back to Spain. And I thought it's a no-brainer for me. So my mate Simmel's walking out of the kitchen with his coffee in his hand, ready to sign me up, and no longer could I do that because obviously I joined the army, or signed the paperwork to join the army, the initial paperwork. So, and that was it then, really.
Oh, he was thrilled with that then, wasn't he?
It was kind of a myth, really, but you see the funny side of it, and obviously he knew that I was more loyal to a local regiment as opposed to guys in the regiment that would be from all over the world. Joining the Royal Marines, whereas these are more intimate. You've got Manx and Scousers, and that's only much shit, apart from Fijians and the likes of, which later came in for the Commonwealth.
Yeah. So how old are you at this point? You're 19?
I'm 18, going on 19, yeah. So I started in January 1998, I started my initial training.
Okay. So, sorry, Dave, how old are you, Dave?
I'm 47 now.
Right, okay.
But I was 18 then, around about, just going into 19, I'm in, on St. Patrick's Day.
Right, okay.
So yeah, 18, 19 I was. Which was a bit strange because obviously my family, no one, apart from me, my granddad was just quite a funny story. No one was in the military, or no one had been in the military. So for my mum, it was really off-putting. She was nervous about this. Obviously, it was going on in Northern Ireland and other places, and she was worried about if I'd ever come back.
Yeah.
And I've got my granddad.
Understandably so, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I've got my granddad pat me on the other side and saying, I've done what I did World War II, I've done it all. And he always promised me, I'll just keep this one brief, but he always promised me, Granddad Harry, my son Denton, lovely chap, but he always said to me, I'll give you the medals. When you join and you pass out, I'll give you my medals.
Wow.
Anyhow, comes to medal time, I passed out. I might cover a bit more of that later, but I went to get the medals off him and I found out that he actually served in the war. He went AWOL and he went on a drinking session at Wigan, basically, and got pulled by the Royal Military Police after being away for like 3 or 4 months on a massive bender with his mates. So he didn't go to war, so these medals were non-existent in the first place, but it was a bit of a carrot on the stick, I think, for him, and he wanted that fuck. But yeah, other than that, it was like, when I was first joining, when I left my mum's house for the first time, ready to go for the my basic training, mum was in floods of tears at a bus stop and what have you. And it's quite daunting knowing young whippersnapper, 18 to be precise, he's going off to be a big man in the big man's world. And but yeah, 16 years career out of it. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Are you comfortable talking a little bit about that?
I can do, yeah.
Yeah, just because I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah.
So, so you left on that day to go and do your basic training. What does that kind of look like? What is that about?
So you've got around about a platoon strength. So you've got about 30 new recruits in each course, and we went up to Catterick near Edinburgh, north of Edinburgh. Excuse me, I have got a bit of a dry throat.
That's all right, man.
Yeah, so I went off there on the 6th of January. As you can imagine, freezing cold temperatures, snow, in Edinburgh. Never been there before in my life. Gets to the train station in Manchester first and foremost, and I met with a guy who's a really close friend of mine, and actually was the best man to his wedding not long after. A guy called Mike Jones, and we hit off straight away. We talked about our nerves and what was to expect. And then you jump on the train and you see them all there with the suitcases and the suits on. And it becomes daunting then. You're thinking, I'm going into something unknown, completely unknown to me. I'd not done any cadets or anything like that. So,
What were you fit though at the time?
physically fit, yeah. I mean, I used to run from Ashton to Manchester and back, doing 18 miler, by about 18 miler every couple of days just to get my fitness up and make sure my cardio was good and stuff like that. They give you a bit of a training program essentially. And you also go for a pre-assessment in Lichfield 6 months before and what have you. So physically fit, mentally not as fit, because it's the unknown really.
Yeah.
So yeah, we arrive at Edinburgh train station, met by a lot of instructors, all twice the size of us, humongous guys, and you just in fear of them, but in awe at the same time. And then started my training. My instructor was a guy who's a close friend of mine now, called Carl Gardner, who's got a book out about war in Iraq. Really fantastic guy, and I've worked with him throughout my career. And yeah, I loved it. Freezing cold conditions, absolutely thrashed everywhere, learning all these new skills. It was invigorating. Yeah, it was. Training lasts for about 6 months on the phase 1, and that's learning your basic skills, your first aid, your map reading, and the likes of.
And does everybody get through that stage?
Not everybody. A lot of people fail on medicals. There's windows of opportunities where you can leave if it's not for you.
And were you in a lot of groups that
I was in a good group, and I wouldn't say I was a grey man. There's a phrase, the grey man with the military. I don't know, it's in civil world as well, but I kind of sat back a bit and not excelled in anything. So I didn't want the name being put out there.
So my understanding of the great man is that you're not right at the front, but you're not at the back either. You're just middle of the pack.
Yeah.
You don't do anything exceptional
Yeah.
to get noticed, but you don't do anything silly to get noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's what I was told to be initially off people that have been in the military before that I knew. Just stay in the middle until you're ready to exceed.
Yeah.
And push yourself. So yeah, I passed all my tests, weapon handling tests and what have you, all the military requirements to get to phase 2, which was the infantry training.
And what were you feeling like at that time? Because obviously you're still only 18 going.
Yeah, 18, 19.
So you're
I was 19 then.
Yeah, you're still a kid, right?
Yeah.
And you're
Still wet behind the ears.
still there in Edinburgh, freezing cold.
Yeah.
Learning how to use guns.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like for you from a mental perspective?
Because I had a good group down us.
Yeah.
We kind of like all gelled and we all kind of dealt with it together. The worry for me was joining the regiment, because the regiment was like high up there with everything. There was boxing champions at the time. There was football champions, very competitive. And it's going into that side of the unknown and joining a team and having to be an asset, as opposed to going in there still young, naive, and letting people down. That was my biggest fear, letting someone down or failing something. So for me, really, I just kind of like focused on what I needed to learn, and tried to be the best soldier or potential soldier I could be at that stage.
Okay. So you passed basic training, phase 1.
Yeah.
And you're moving on to phase 2.
Yes.
So what does that look like?
Phase 2's down in, I say down, it's still north of here. It's Catterick, Garrison. And that's more intense. That's your full infantry skills. That's learning how to do your defensive side of operations, your offensive operations, FIDUA, which is fighter, and now I think it's now OBU, which is operating in built-up areas. You're dealing with all sorts, but it's at a higher level. Essentially, when you leave that 6 months of Catterick Garrison Phase 2 training, you can deploy to war. So you war ready. There was still cash bayonet training. There was all sorts involved in it, really. You had to meet all the criteria from that side as well to progress on from there, really.
So I've never wanted to join the army or anything like that. It's never really appealed to me. But in my later years, I have sort of developed an interest in it through probably Who Dares Wins, like the SAS program and stuff like that. So all I know really is just based on kind of that show and some of the books that the guys that I do that show have brought out. How close to that, what you see on the TV, is it to actually do it?
Very close. You've got to give the respect to the special forces. I mean, it's different tiers. Us infantry soldiers are well below their par, but working always towards that level, as well as possible. And you've obviously got your elite regiments, the parachute regiment, and the Marines. And we've worked over the years. We've worked closer by them, but it's very real. The show is real, and obviously it's there to test people. Not only the capabilities, but taking them out of the comfort zones, really, especially the celebrities.
Yeah.
So
No, I watched that here. No, I enjoy it. It's weird. The strangest thing for me on that, and it's like from a physical perspective, I don't know whether I could do it. Don't know if my body could do it, but I'd certainly give it a go.
Yeah.
The bit that I couldn't do is the bit where they put those earphones on your head and listen to that kid crying all the time.
Yeah.
And they sit you in there for an hour just listening to that. I'm like, that's where I'd crack.
No, I've never had to do that. I've done gas chambers, with CS gas and whatever, and that's quite excruciating. But in terms of noise levels and stuff, I've never had to do that side. So that's been one thing I've dodged.
Yeah,
But
good.
I don't know how to make that one.
Yeah, that would be difficult, I think. Okay, so phase 2, you complete that. What happens next?
Have a bit of time off a couple of weeks, go see family and friends. My mum and dad came up to the pass-off parade for both of them, both Edinburgh and Catterick, and they were really proud. So go home, have a few beers, see family and friends again.
Sorry, let me just step you back there for a second. So passing out, explain to me what that means. Like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so passing out means all your family turn up, family and friends, anyone who's invited, essentially, they'll sit on stage and we'll go out there and we'll perform the routine. In full military regalia with weapons. We'll do a full parade for them, and then announcements of everyone passing out and top recruits and what have you. And then once that ceremony part's over, we'll go for a beer. Family and friends come, meet the instructors. They'll tell you how they've done and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a joyous occasion, really. You get your beret, your regimental beret, which makes you really proud. Ours was a blue one with a fleur-de-lis for the King's Regiment. And it just such an amazing part of my life, knowing that I passed I've never failed. I wasn't back squatted, and back squatted, to those that don't know, essentially, if you're not passing tests over a period of time, they'll put you back to the next group. Could be offer, okay. So it could be 6 weeks, 8 weeks down the line. You have to start the training again from that point.
Oh, wow, okay. So they won't just cut you, they'll drop you back.
They'll drop you back, yeah, they'll back squad you. And that's normally, generally, that'll be the instructors agreeing with a platoon commander in charge of that platoon to say, yeah, we've all assessed it. We feel the best step for them is to move them back, bring them in the new group, and hopefully by then they'll pick it up enough to pass the course or pass that specific exam. So having completed everything without having to get back squatted or having to retest, I felt really proud. And then it was onto the regiment then, and that's the nervous part. So again, go away, have a couple of weeks off. My regiment were coming back from Cyprus at the time, so Carl Lenner, I mentioned earlier on, that sold me this dream about going living it up in the sun.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't have that opportunity because he was a Harminar. But nonetheless, fantastic salesman, he got me in. But nonetheless, I ended up Wheaton Barracks in near Preston, well, Kirkham to be precise, over near Blackpool way. And that was daunting, really daunting. You've got all these angry, disciplined but angry soldiers, experienced soldiers from all different ranks all the way through that are getting ready for operations, and you're tucking up with your suitcase, all your new gear, your classed as what they call a trog. You're the new boy in town. You're going to be cleaning everything, all the ablutions. You're going to be cleaning the corridors. If something's needed from the shop, you're going to the shop. If they want to have a laugh at your expense, it's at your expense. So it's quite difficult.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Absolutely nothing you can do about it. You just got to earn your crust. You've got to show your worth in that platoon. One experience, and I was put in a box. They call them an MF4 box, essentially a cardboard box, and rolled downstairs and been taped up. That was one. Shot in the backside with an air rifle while I was asleep. These are just tests to see. It's character building, essentially.
Yeah.
These days it'd be classed as bullying.
Yeah.
But back then, it was more character building. For instance, on a Friday and Saturday night, I wouldn't be going out. I'd be ironing every single senior soldier's kit so they can go out.
Really?
Yeah. We'll spend 3 or 4 hours doing it, and they say, right, you stay here. So there are a lot of different types of tests to see how I'd cope with that, to see if I'd break, to see if I'd want to leave.
So is a lot of that just purely based on reaction? Did you not want to see what you...
Kind of an initiation to a certain degree, to see what kind of character you are. Can I go to war with this man? Essentially.
Because you've got to trust the person that you're next to, right? In that
Absolutely, yeah.
set of circumstances, I would imagine. And if me shooting you in the backside with an air rifle is going to annoy you,
yeah,
getting shot with a real bullet, I assume, is going to be
a little. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that didn't annoy me the most. The one that was coming up to Christmas, and it was a bad winter, let's say, and we had a fishing pond or a little fishing lake on the camp. And I woke up to the sounds of ice screeching, and I looked across and I thought, where's my TV gone? And they'd gone round all the trogs' rooms, picking up the TVs and throwing them, hurling them or curling them across the ice to see if they'd last. So we'd spend like, I don't know, 150 quid on a TV, and they just launched it out on the lake. There's all carp swimming around it in the lake. So things like that kind of annoyed me because it was the value of the money I was spending on it. I was working hard to try and get them nice things in my room and what have you.
Yeah, because that's not specifically to you then, is it? That's yeah, okay, I get that.
But I guess after about, I don't know, 6 to 9 months of having to deal with ironing people's clothes and lending people kit at the time of smoking heavy and passing cigarettes to everyone so I had nothing, giving them money. All these little things I did contributed to the senior private soldiers in there saying, like, enough's enough, you're one of us now.
Right, okay.
And it took a while. In terms of the block jobs, what they call them, the cleaning jobs, there was about 6 or 8 of us that'd be assigned certain jobs. I'll clean a corridor one week, and then I'll be cleaning the toilets the next week, and they had to be immaculate to the point where people go in with a finger, a bit of dust on there, and you'd be getting thrashed outside. You go on a 6-mile run, and you get absolutely destroyed. I used to get up at 4. The guys would get up at 6. I'd already done everyone's block jobs.
Right.
There was a guy on my corridor called John Van der Velde, and he's a Lance Corporal at the time, and he must have clocked me after o'clock in the morning, getting up and doing all these jobs. And he pulled me to one side and said, right, no more. You're not doing it anymore now. You're done with block jobs. I've seen how hard you work. I respect it. That's you off then. I'll take you off the list.
And that was just one day?
No, that was over a period of time. Because like 3 or 4 months of getting up at 4 o'clock doing everyone's jobs. Because I didn't want to get beasted outside. So I thought, if someone's going to have a lie-in, I'm not struggling, or I'm not getting punished, carpet punished, or blanket punished, sorry, as a result of someone's actions. So I thought, if I just take control of the situation and just deal with it, then I don't have to get punished.
Okay.
So yeah, after that 6 to 9 month period, it was kind of like, let him off now. Is now classed as a more senior soldier.
Yeah.
And we can trust him. And that's kind of like earned the respect within the platoon.
And then later on, after you've been in for a few years, were you one of these soldiers that would then do that with the new trogs coming in?
No.
Why?
I wanted to do things different.
Okay.
Even 9 months in, when we had new lads come through, I pull them to one side, educate them, get up here with your block jobs. Don't say this to that person, don't do this. It just acclimatise them really into the regiment and try and put my arm around them and bring them in the right way. At the time, it wasn't frowned upon the way I was treated. It was kind of like a blind eye was turned to it. I always remember a period where we was going away on an exercise, and I always had double kit. I always had extra torches, this, that, and the other. And some of the senior lads came in one day. We had an inspection at 8 in the morning. So I'd been up since 4, done the block jobs till 6, 7 o'clock. Got all my kit ready, my burger and my rucksack and my webbing, everything immaculate, so I couldn't get picked up on the inspections. You'd have to pull your water bottles out. It'd have to be less than a millimeter off the top, full of water. There was all these meticulous things, made basically designed to make it go to war efficiently and effectively with the right kit. And he had some of the senior lads pulling on the gear apart, saying, "I'll take that, I need this, that, the other." And I ended up being 5 minutes late for this inspection in front of the full platoon. I come out bright red, apologising to the platoon sergeant. The platoon sergeant give the nod to one of the corporals. Corporal took me out, swiped the legs, took me from under my feet, burger on the floor, give me a bit of a shivving. I just got up straight away, brushed myself off, put my burger on, never said anything, walked across, and I thought, I just took a shoe in there as a result of giving people help, which I thought was wrong. So when I went to that role of a bit more a senior soldier, I'd always make sure that the guys that have the right kit and only that right kit, and they'd be on time every time, so they didn't have to go through punishments one another. So I've kind of wanted to change the way things were to a certain degree.
Okay. So all your training's done now, right? So
Yeah, I'm in the regiment. Yeah.
What happens next?
So we're talking around about 99. I'm going away on exercises, preparing for every eventuality. We're just about to go into TRB, which is the Theatre Reserve Battalion, which is essentially in and out of Northern Ireland. And I go on a military skills with the regiment, which is a challenge where you go over Otterburn, over in the north, towards the Lake Waves. And it's a series of skills challenges. You've got to go from speed marching to building a boat to navigating to all sorts. And had a really good time there. Platoon was all right, a decent platoon. And platoon commander pulled me to one side and said, "You're going to go far in this army, essentially. I like your ethic. I like the way you work. I want to put you on a promotion course, but I want to send you on something totally different. How do you feel?" And I says, "Well, it depends what it is, really." And he says, "There's an opportunity to go to Northern Ireland, not for 6 weeks in, 2 weeks out, for a 2-year stint, working under a close observation platoon, it was called. So doing more specialist work, working towards higher echelons. So you're working towards the likes of Northern Ireland Police, but also with special forces, really. So it's kind of like in between the infantry and the special forces, and essentially doing surveillance work at high levels. So I took the opportunity. Well, it was grasped it with both hands, and then obviously joined up with a hell of a lot of more experienced lads, and joined the training for that side then. So fast forward slightly from there, we're down at Ivor Lid doing an extensive training, working with cam and concealment, so we can operate in bushes for 10 days at a time, or working in a house for a long period of time, blending in with society, doing surveillance work. And I loved it. More intense. The instructors, one was SCS and one was 14 Intelligence, they were called at the time. Crazy guys, really crazy. You look up in her and you talk to, they have a pistol on the leg and they'd be stroking it. That's how crazy they were. They were absolute crazy guys. They both passed away now from operations, but I looked up with so much inspiration towards them. And they taught us all these new skills, firing out of cars and stuff like that. And once we putting windows through, high intense ranges and stuff like that. So it was really, really good time. And then
So you were there for 2 years,
2 years.
and then what happened after the 2 years?
We redeployed to Catterick from Wheaton. We're becoming an armoured regiment, so the warrior armoured fighting vehicles, scimitars, all the different armoured vehicles. Because before that, we'd just be on Land Rovers and the old Bedford trucks and what have you. Now we're going more intense, more war fighting, working alongside the artillery and people like that. So become a bigger part of the brigade asset, really. So it was new training for us. I then joined the mortar platoon. So working with the 81mm mortar, essentially started off learning the weapon system and firing that from being a number 3 to number 2 to number 1 position, which was the pivotal position, and then working my way through that platoon within the ranks and what have you. So I'd gone away and done my promotion course, NCO's Carter, with Paul, who I worked with. We all from that course together.
So is that where you'd met Paul?
No, I met him prior to the army.
Oh, right, okay.
He worked at Barracks. My friend worked there at the time. And then obviously once we got into the army,
Yeah.
I remembered him. We had a good chat. Clicked straight away. And yeah, so I went into the mortar platoon, and then stayed there for a few years, and that was good. Ended up going to Canada, 2002, which was quite good. A full live firing exercise over the prairies. Bit of time off to go to Banff National Park and what have you. So really fantastic time. Loved every moment of that. And then the news came about 2003 with Iraq war kicking in, and towards the back end of, I think it was about a 6-week exercise, we was told, pack your kit, we're going.
Wow.
So we thought we were going to be the initial, one of the initial regiments to go over the border from Kuwait. Wasn't to be the case, obviously. There were rapid deployment teams there, the Paras, the Rifles, Fusiliers and people like that. So we then got stepped down and then just said, Mike, gradually pack your kit. You're going to get on the next flight. You're going to get back and we're going to do some more preparation, high intensity training, really. Get ready for it. And then in March, I believe it was, 2003, deployed to Iraq.
Wow. What was that like?
Well, obviously, we went to Kuwait initially. So we were on a tented camp doing an acclimatisation, aircon off. They won't let us have that on. We're in 30 to 40 degree heat. No cold water, warm water only.
Oh,
Get the blood flowing correctly. I'm doing lots of training, more intense training, mortar firing. I did a bit of sniper work with one of the sniper teams, so learning to fire the sniper rifle, the L85A1. Sorry, no, L85, L96A1. So yeah, I did a bit of training there. We were there for about 2 or 3 weeks, so we were just waiting to cross the border basically and see what it's about.
and how many times had you spoke to your mum who was crying when you were leaving at 18 at this point?
Off and on really. I mean, she was quite content with the fact that I'd keep in touch with her. I mean, I feel it was on a weekly basis,
Okay.
I'd say. I've got a bit of a funny story later when I was in Afghanistan when I ran my man. But
Okay.
so
So how was she feeling about the fact that you'd just had to go to Kuwait and possibly going into Iraq?
she got more used to it. But I think rather than watching Coronation Street, she was now on Sky News constantly, bombarding it. And we used to have letters from her to and from, blue as they're called, on a blue fold-out envelope. We used to write letters, and we had hordes of them going across to and from to my mum, explaining what was going on.
Yeah.
You'd have the radio, sat phones, so you could ring home every now and again. So I tried to keep in touch with her at the time.
And was that good for you while you were there?
It wasn't. It's double-edged, really, because obviously it made you miss home more. I was of the mindset that I'm focusing on where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And now in the present situation and what I'm about to go into, really. But I felt it was important for my mum and family and my dad as well to a certain degree, and brothers, for them to understand, look,
Yeah.
this is happening at the moment, this is what's going on.
Because again, I mean, I hate to keep harking back to that program, but obviously in there they specifically do that as an exercise, don't they, where they'll put the laptop on and they'll either allow you to ring home or you can close the laptop and not. So you were one of those people that you wanted to keep in touch, but it was more for the people back here rather than yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was easier to process that way. To kind of compartmentalize what I was doing there and what was going on at home.
Yeah.
Because I feel crossing that border into Iraq, if I weren't switched on and I was thinking about home, I weren't coming back. I was going back in a body bag, and that was my mindset. So I kind of like tried channeling that all the time, but making sure that it appears those back home as well.
Okay. So you're still in Kuwait at this point.
Just about to cross the border on a coach,
Okay.
or coaches, and yeah, we spent 2.5 weeks acclimatizing, and then we got the nod to go across the border, headed towards Basra.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I was scared, but I felt safe with those around me. You kind of get that brotherhood in the army. You trust everyone. You trust what you learn. You trust your skills. Yeah, you're a bit on edge, let's say, to everyone, every movement.
Yeah.
It's the fear of the unknown, not knowing what I'm going into, how intense it's going to be, if I could deal with that situation and practice for it for the last God knows how long, and now I'm dealing with it for real. But there's a sense of pride as well. You're wearing that uniform.
Yeah.
I mean, I cast my mind back to being back in the UK doing a training exercise, and we was at Milton Keynes, I believe it was, at the service station. An elderly lady a retired lady came onto our bus crying and saying, I know you're going to Iraq. I'm so proud of you. and we all burst in tears. She burst in tears, and it was quite hit home that I was going to war then. At that point when she mentioned that, forget what my platoon commanding officer said, you're going to war. When that lady came on and thanked us for what was about to go into, that was more hitting home. So yeah,
Feeling that genuinely just about that, just here then, like the tape bricks when you just said that.
it rocks me to this day.
That's crazy, mate. Yeah.
And yeah, the hairs was tangled up a bit now. Yeah, so yeah, we kind of like, you just get used to it. You think, right, I'm here now. Once we get into base, we're going to have a handover takeover period. We was with the Fusiliers, or taking over the Fusiliers. So there's kind of like, they'll keep a small amount of their instructors or their higher ranking officers and a few of the corporals behind us, just to give us the realities of war, what we're going to expect, where to go, what not to do, what's happened during their 6-month period. And you're kind of thankful that you're relieving them of their duties. These guys have just been on the front line at the initial part of that war, taking incoming from every direction, you know, and it's you want them to get home safe. So by relieving them of their duties and you taking on that role, they can go home to their families and children and whatever. So yeah, sense of pride there.
And so they should be.
Yeah.
So you'd gone over the border. How close are you actually to that front line now?
500 meters.
Wow.
Yeah. We was based in, I'd say 500 meters, because we was near the River Tigris and in what's known as the Chateau Arab Hotel, which was Saddam's old hotel. It was Covert airport, just on the outskirts of Basra, not too far from Basra Palace. And you've got an island in the middle of the river, like 500 meters away, where there's known Iraqi infidels and soldiers and what have you. That's still fighting to that day. I mean, when we were driving through, I'll just cut back slightly, when we were going on the coaches, getting to Basra, we were seeing tanks still on fire, helmets discarded on the floor, weapon systems on the floor. It was pretty intense, really, to look at. It's almost like Call of Duty scenario sort of thing. So, although there was no firefights at that point, you could see the remnants of what's just been happening. So that was pretty crazy in itself.
Wow. So you're 500 meters from the front line. At what point do you get involved in that at this stage?
Not straight away. It was all about getting adjusting so we get our accommodation, we'd start our intelligence briefs with the Fusiliers. They then explain what's going on. And then over a period of the next week to 2 weeks, you're going out on patrols. You're identifying locations of key points of interest and what have you. And then you'll start going further afield to the likes of Basra Palace to meet all the other regiments around there. Down at the river where one of Saddam's humongous ships is turned over.
But at any point during those trips out that you were going to these locations, anything could have happened at that point.
Oh yeah, and did. For instance, I mentioned one where a local routine patrol, what we'd do, I'd see a young child and he'd see us, he'd go, Mr. Beckham. So he's all about football, he's kicking a stone on the floor. So I got my interpreter who walked over and asked his, where's your parents? And he pointed to a load of rubble. His parents had been blown up the week before. Still under the rubble. So that was harrowing itself to deal with that situation. We went back after that patrol, we got him a football, so he's not kicking stones about anymore. And over the period of our time there, we got him a football kit and we looked after him, we kept an eye on him. So that was one scenario. Another patrol that we'd done, I think this was out of the Palace, Basra Palace. We'd gone on a patrol and we were coming back exhausted. We'd been out for 8 hours in the sun. And as we came back, there was an American journalist and he says, guys, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I'm somewhere in the centre of Basra. I need a lift. So we had to get permission to take him out and escort him back to his position. We was in a Wimmick then, which is like a Land Rover with no top on it. It's a convertible Land Rover essentially. So we had a couple of Wimmicks with us. So we took this guy, got all his gear, put him in the Land Rover, and then drove around looking for his hotel. And he said, there's 2 armed guards outside my hotel. So we said, no, that's fine. So anyway, as we got near, damn it, to it, he just overshot and he went, sorry, it's down that road there. And as we pulled round to get back round, I broke loose. gunfire. You could just see it literally ricocheting off the Wimmick of the Land Rover,
Wow.
hitting the wall. It was like, I always remember, it's like a K-rendered wall. It were K-rendered obviously, but it was like a white wall. It was just splash marks of bullets essentially just missing us and hitting the wall. We grabbed him, dropped him down, and then ran him straight into his building. And kind of left a lot of frustration, the fact that we're exhausted, the fact that someone had got lost and it could have lost our lives, but luckily no one died that night. But that was quite soon into the tour.
Right.
So I thought, that's just this sort of scenario, what's next? And yeah, it was just your routine patrols then really, and then taking over what we call the Sangha bashing. One of them was at the palace. There was a massive, humongous palace, and they had about 3 regiments in there, and we had a regiment that was guarding the main entrance point, and there were a riot situation outside at the main gates, and I was on a Sangha 16 at the back of the palace, having bricks thrown. It's funny, kids throwing bricks at you. They know when the vehicles are going behind, you know exactly where they are. They're either catapulting stones or throwing bricks over to try and smash windows on the Land Rovers, trying to get you through the holes and stuff. But we had a bit of a laugh with them. You know, it kept us occupied, let's say. It kept us focused. And I'd done 6 hours on Stag, and I would just come off, strip my weapon down to clean it, get rid of all the dust. And a guy called Jay comes in and he says, "Dave, you up for a fight?" So why? He says, "You need to get out the front, it's kicking off." So put my weapon back together, body armor on, helmet on, run out the front. We've got all our close regiment, a sister regiment, in all their Robo gear, Riot gear. And we had to go straight out to the front and appease with all these the thousands and thousands of Iraqi protesters, all in dish dash, all in their regalia, and it's quite harrowing. You've got Al Jazeera News in front of your cameras in your face and whatnot. Gosh. And one of the Sanghas had reported grenade, so we'd automatically assume then someone's got a grenade and they're going to let it off. So I was like, right, send.
It's in the crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
So we asked then for more of a description of this individual. It said white dish dash, and you're looking around, there's thousands in white dish dash. So at that point, you're thinking we need to back off a bit here. Started getting really heated towards the front. I have a rifle in front of me, and this guy's trying to drag my rifle off me. So I told him, "Let's just get away, urger." I did a motion to strike him with it. Not necessarily wanted to strike him, but giving him the last option to take his hands off my weapon system. And as I did that, I've got Al Jazeera News zooming straight on me. I've got all these, and I'm being pulled back by one of my platoon sergeants. Said, "Right, you're being too aggressive." And I kind of like realised at that stage, I should back off a bit, just control the situation a bit better. Then I was like, Jeremy Kyle, I've got everyone coming up to me because I made that action and a bit more disciplined. I need this, I need that. So with an interpreter, I was helping people, and I looked out the corner of my eye and I seen a guy collapse. So we dragged him into the shade, got him straight into the medical room for attention, and helped him out, so to speak. And we kind of diffused the situation with the crowds that was amongst us because we were trying to help them rather than just push them away. And what was a nice story is the guy that we took off to the medical centre, he could have died under heat exhaustion. We managed to bring him back down again, and he came up to the gate next day to see me and asked me to go with him to his family in Basra to have a meal and thank me for saving his life. So at that point I was like, we're not here just for the aggressive front. We need to be helping people and looking for those people that need help, really. And that played a big part in the rest of my career.
Right. Wow. Okay. So how long are you actually in Iraq for?
I only did, regrettably, about 3.5 months. We're supposed to be down a 6-month tour, but I'd already promoted to Lance Corporal, and now I was exceeding that. I was going into on a promotional course or a course to see if I had the potential to go to Junior Brecon to be a full corporal.
Right.
Basically in charge of a section of men.
Wow.
So me and I think it was about 12 of us went from Iraq straight to Cyprus.
Right. So you did get to Cyprus?
Yeah, I got to Cyprus. Yeah. It was mischievous out there because obviously I'd been out there in the sun. There was no beers or anything like that.
How old are you at this point, Dave?
I'm gonna be 23, 24.
Okay, so you've done 4 years, 5 years
Yeah,
in the army so far. Okay,
yeah. So joining that, that was 2003. So yeah, we get on for 5 years, about over 5 years. So yeah, we ended up at Cyprus on a pre-selection course it was. And all I could think about is getting drunk going on the beach. I've not been on this beach before. I've not seen a woman for a while. I'm just seeing dish dash and what have you. And all of a sudden surrounded by topless ladies on a beach, which was pretty intense at that age. But yeah, so we did the course, and that was really intense, and finished that, and then went to Junior Brecon to obviously do my course to become an instructor, and also a full corporal on that then. That was
So once you've finished in Cyprus, how long were you in Cyprus for at that point?
6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah.
And then where do you go?
Back to Brecon Beacons to commence on the course. Well, went back to the regiment for a couple of weeks because obviously we have to wait for the course to go on. And then you're on I think it's about an 18-week course off the top of my head.
Okay.
Or 6 weeks and 6 weeks, it could have been 12 actually. To become not only an instructor of weapons, but also a full corporal in your regiment in charge of a minimum of 8 soldiers.
Okay. So did you get to that rank?
I did, but later on. I'd done the skill at arms section, which is becoming a weapons instructor, and I passed that with ease. And then on the other side of it, the instructors part, sorry, not the instructors, becoming a section commander part.
Yeah.
I did my back in, injured my back, and had to come off that course. And
How did you injure your back?
carrying too much gear. We're out on the section.
Oh, sorry. Let me just be clear. So you've served 3.5 months in Iraq.
Yeah.
But you do your back carrying gear.
Yeah.
Does that happen often? That sort of stuff.
Yes and no.
So you can literally be 500 meters from the front line. You're absolutely fine. You've had bullets fired at you. They're hitting part of your vehicle. They're hitting a wall next to you, but you do your back carrying a bit of gear.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened with that is you're with 8 other individuals, and they're all competing to go to the top of this course.
Right.
They're all wanted to be seen by the instructors. They're not team players.
Right.
In front of the instructor, it's called DS watching. They're a team player. Oh, how are you with your food or this, that, and the other? When it comes to it, you've got a section commander, or so be it section commander. You know, he's being tested under that level.
Yeah.
And then you've got one which is the Lance Corporal, which we all are anyway. There's the 2IC. And the 2IC distributes the kit. The section commander deals with all the admin side of it, and then he'll deal with the kit. So the 2IC, my 2IC, I didn't like it anyway. He was like, right, Dave, so you can carry the claymores, you can carry the 96 millimeter rocket launcher on your back. You can carry it. The burger must have been 160 pounds, 160 kg, some burger. So almost twice the weight of me.
Yeah.
And you're on patrol all the way through the night, being tested over rough terrain, and getting ready for an ambush. And it was during this exercise ambush is where I just took my Bergen off. As I took it off, I fell my back up. It was excruciating. Picked up by the Gurkhas in a Land Rover, who was part of the admin team for it. And then I'm married. The language barrier is just really harsh anyway. So I'm now being took over rough terrain about 60 mile an hour in a Land Rover over an exercise with a damaged back, going straight to the medical centre. Ultimately, just getting physio and rehab.
Yeah.
And it was quite a hard period, that, because when I got back, I found out the officers' mess hall had bets of who would make it and who wouldn't make it. And my own platoon commander said, I had a bet you wouldn't make it. And I kind of took aback by that.
Wow.
I was disgusted by it, to be fair. And I thought you should have had more faith. This was a new platoon commander, but I kind of made my thing there where I would never fear anything again.
Right.
And I'd always exceed. And I always try to get to the top of the course if I could.
So how long was your recovery from that?
About 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
But in the meantime, as I'm driving, it was funny because as I'm driving back from Brecon Beacons, going back to Catterick, I got a phone call from my mum, who knew someone in my regiment.
Right.
I can't remember why it was, but she said, "Oh, you're going to Kosovo, aren't you?" I said, "What?" She went, "You're off to Kosovo." So what do you mean? She went, "You'll find out when you get back." So I'm driving up there thinking I've got a damaged back, and now I'm being told that I'm going to Kosovo by my mum, who's nothing to do with it. And I can't remember how she found it. It was a family friend or something like that. Well, the regiment had to select another surveillance company to go, brigade surveillance it was, to go to Kosovo to work over there. And they'd already selected my name. I've known that I've come off the back of Iraq, and I've also come off the back of...
Did they know that you were injured at this point?
They knew I was injured, right? They accepted that, and they'll let me ease back into it for physiotherapy and stuff. But do you know, I'm so glad I got that opportunity and got selected to go to Kosovo. One of the best places I've ever been to.
So you've been to Kosovo as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pristina. Fantastic place. We was part of MMB, Multinational Brigade, so we're dealing with Caribbean Area Police, German GSG9 Commandos, all special forces for American Delta Force and what have you. And we're dealing with intelligence and surveillance. I've now completed a covert search team course, working under thermal imagery and specialized cameras, night vision goggles and what have you, looking for tripwires. So we're doing all these intense courses to go across and become part of a brigade asset. Again, working closer with special forces over in Pristina, Kosovo in general. And yeah, it was really, really good time. By then I was a team leader for that, and more of a specialized team. You're in a team of 4. Right. So you're in Land Rovers, you're in civilian vehicles, surveilling. I'd get my map. I'd be in the back of a van being dragged around to our start point or checkpoint. I'd have to get my head torch on and memorize my route, and then it was literally hush hush, we're going in. Wow. And we'd go literally 4-man team into the middle of nowhere, dig down into a bush, hide there with all our surveillance gear, cameras and what have you, and stay there for 10 days doing a pattern of life study on someone, observing their location. So yeah, it was pretty intense. Peeing in bottles, pooing in bags, all stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good. Good times.
So when you just said then that you don't mind talking to me about that one because it's not an intelligence thing. So is there genuinely things that you can't talk to me about?
Yeah. It's the Official Secrets Act. We used to get given target packs in Kosovo and Northern Ireland and all around the world pretty much. And they'd explain who they are, what they're about, and what you need to get from them information-wise and what you...
But if I asked you what that was, you genuinely couldn't tell me?
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I couldn't tell you because of so I had to say, like, but yeah, it was really intense and it was a really good job. It showed a different side of the infantry that's out there, because it's not all about just going towards the enemy and fire on the firefight. Sometimes it's about building up a pattern of someone's life or a unit's capabilities. Really, it's not just about the war fighting side of it.
So you're in Kosovo, and this is around what, 6-7 years now you've been in?
2004. Yeah, 6 years.
So you've got another 10 years left that you do.
Yeah.
So give me a snapshot of that next 10 years, because you said that you went to Afghanistan as well, right?
Yeah.
So what does that look like then? So because you're already training to be a corporal, right?
Yeah. So I came back from 2004, from late 2004. Came back from Kosovo pretty much straight away. Within about 3-6 months, I'd gone back and finished that course and qualified.
And your back's good now, right?
Yeah. With that, I was qualified as a section commander then. But I was dual role because I was in the mortars. So the infantry side of it, as in the infantry soldier, you can go through a lance corporal, section commander, platoon sergeant. Yeah. Whereas on the mortar side, you go from a number 3, number 2, number 1. Then you go to a lance corporal, sergeant.
Right. Okay.
There's a different role and different ways of getting about in different qualifying courses. But what I wanted to do is be dual-lighted, so I qualified on this side and then I qualified on mortars as well.
Right.
So yeah, I did that. So now at 2006, I go to ATR Pirbright, Army Training Regiment Pirbright, and became a military instructor. So I'm now doing what I did 1998. I'm now on the coaches, picking up all these young recruits, getting them through, trying to keep them calm initially. Say bye to your mum, right your mind now, let's go. And yeah, so I became, they call it the infantry glue. So I'm surrounded by all these different cap badges. You've got the raw logistic corps, the chefs, the drivers, you've got RMPs, you've got guards, all these different parts of units. They come in, but we have the infantry in there to have their advice about specialised infantry works as well. So I'm now at phase 1, ATR Pirbright.
So you're an instructor. Does that mean that you then don't go back on the front line at any point, or?
So as I stand it up now. So going there was one of the worst things I ever did at Pirbright. And I'm trying to get upset about this, but I went there as an instructor and my year was going back to Iraq.
Right.
And we're now so I went on what's known as Operation Telic 2. This is now fast forward a few telex. This is Operation Telic 9. My regiment's going out there.
Right.
So prior to going out there, and prior for me going Pirbright, I was doing the riot trainers, assisting them that as an instructor for the riot training, teaching lads how to deal with riot aggro situations, essentially.
Yeah.
Crowd back builds up and what have you. So dealing on that side. Then I parted ways and went to Pirbright. My regiment was just about to go back to what was known as probably the hardest tour in Iraq
Right.
ever, where substantial amount of deaths happened involving men from my regiment.
Wow.
Which was hard because I'm now away from that war footing. I'm now teaching recruits, but I'm also seeing on Sky News what was happening.
Gosh.
So really, really harrowing. And I'll mention him again, Carl Garner, who's one of the commanders out there when a warrior blew up and guys died in there. I won't mention too much, people can look out themselves, but that happened in Iraq. And it was a really difficult time because I couldn't do nothing. It was out of my control, I couldn't help. All I could do is observe on Sky News.
But the likelihood is that you could have been one of those deaths if you've solid your regiment.
Potentially, yeah. It was kinetic. When I say kinetic, there was IEDs were off the scale. You know, the improvised explosive devices, the amount of attacks, rocket bell grenades attacks. There were more attacks in that tour than there ever was before. They kind of knew what it was about. They'd obviously assessed it. The British, the way the British Army works, and then they try counteracting that on a big scale.
Gosh.
But I suppose the saving grace is I wasn't there. I wasn't killed.
Yeah.
I had my own experiences, obviously teaching recruits really, and trying to get them to the best standard they could be at.
So you said earlier that you regretted it though.
I regret going to Pirbright, yeah. Why? Personal things happened there.
Okay.
I don't want to go too much into it, but my wife at the time, my first wife, had an affair with one of the instructors, and then naturally left me. I was going through a bit of a difficult time there. I only stayed there for a year, and then I came away from that environment, and there were all sorts going on. But with what was going on in Iraq with my guys, what was going on with my current relationship and stuff, it was just a bit of a messy time.
But you trained some new recruits though, right?
Yeah.
And those new recruits, I assume, would have been deployed at some point.
There was, and I actually seen a few of them in Afghanistan, and I was proud of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of the medics and what have you, and some of the drivers.
So I'm not going to pretend that I have any clue about that set of circumstance. But in terms of like a regret, and I get that some of that regret could have been the fact that if you were perhaps over in Afghanistan at that time with your regiment, that you could have perhaps influenced anything, and that you could have perhaps saved one life, whatever it may be. I guess that you have to take some humbling in the sense that some of those recruits that you trained that went over there, how many lives could they have saved that only have saved those lives because you trained them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you could take that. It might not.
Yes. It goes with it. I sometimes I'm too hard on myself with certain situations like that. The ifs, the coulds, the maybes and what have you. But you're right. Yeah. I mean, I had lads there. There was a young lad from Middlesbrough, and I met on the pass off. His mum came up to me and she thanked me. She gave me help. She said, "It's been telling me you're his dad." And that changed me. The fact that I had that effect on people as an insurance, so it's quite heartwarming. So, and the fact I train them up to the best they could be. So I knew when they passed out, if they had to go to war, they were there. And speaking to them when I moved into Afghanistan further down the line, and these were now with rank, let's say full corporals and moving on through the ranks. It's quite a proud moment. It's quite humbling.
Yeah, but it was.
Yeah, it was good. Considering you're bringing these out and you've got lads with hair out here, next one you got a bald head, and they're all in the same uniforms and what have you, or a young girl that's timid, because we taught both male and female. She's never had a job before. Now she's got hold of a rifle and she's running towards an enemy position. You know, obviously a trainer. But yeah, it's quite humbling.
Well, you should be incredibly proud of that.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So, take me to when you go to Afghanistan.
So, I'd left I had a bit of issues over in Pirbright, and then I formed my regiment up, and they says, take a bit of time off, come back at Christmas, like 2 or 3 months off, something like that.
Right, okay.
And then welcome back into the mortar platoon, and then went through a bit more training, qualifying courses and what have you. And then did my courses for sergeant then. And then we go to deploy to Cyprus. again.
Right.
So I'd been there for that 6-week period. Now this was a 2 or 3 year stint in Cyprus.
Wow. Okay.
In Northern Ireland, it was PRB, Province Reserve Battalion. Now I'm in Theatre Reserve Battalion, which means basically in Cyprus, we was based in Episcopi, not too far from Paphos, and essentially we could travel, or we can be deployed anywhere there's an incident to go. Afghanistan was already in mid-motion, and yeah, we started the training. Then we had guys coming back off deployment. They have a place down at the beach down below the camp where it's like people come back to the decompress. Basically, they've got 2 days there where they have a couple of beers, only a couple, so they end up kicking off, or they're still on edge and what have you. Have a bite to eat, and they have the time to talk to people and get on the water sports and stuff. But some of the instructors that have come directly from Afghanistan have come up to the base and have a chat with us about the realities of war, what's going on out there and stuff like that, what we're there to deal with, what you can expect, what's the best type of training. And then we're going to an intense period now for 6 months of training, ready for deployment. And then, the commanding officer got us all together and said, it's happening. We're going to start a rotation. So it'd be a company at a time and flit over to Afghanistan, plug a gap where they needed to deal with certain situations, where it may be. And then we go from there, really.
Wow.
I think we was the second company to deploy on the first one. And I went to Misakala, but before that, when we were one thing that really resonated with my my officer commanding the OC who's in charge of the company, he's in charge of 120 people, potentially between 90 and 120. He pulls his old parade and he says, right, look around you. So we're all there looking around each other. He says, right, someone's not coming back.
Wow.
Okay. One person here won't come back. I said, right, okay. Well, I can deal with that. So anyway, we go back to family and we say our goodbyes. We get on the coaches and we head off to the airport, RAF Catterick, and then make our flight over to Afghanistan for the first time to Camp Bastion, which was an experience in itself. It's a humongous place, just full of military from all walks of life, from all over the world. You're Swedish, you're Danish, you're Americans. Prince I was there not long after me, or during the time. Everyone there, it's just a massive place, just barracks everywhere. Yeah. Ends up there in the dust bowl. And then as a company, we moved over to Misakala. Quite a relatively quiet place at the time. They've had their issues. They've had a lot of incidents and some deaths there. And then we deployed to Fodminden there as a company and started our routine patrols, essentially going out to what's known as shows, so speaking to the elders, finding out what their issues are in the village, where the local locations of Taliban are, and understanding the area of responsibility, our AOR, essentially. And yeah, we spend the next 6 months there, pretty much, from between Fodminden and a place called OPL, which is about 2 kilometers south of Fodminden, overlooking Taliban positions and what have you. And just engaging in firefights with them, really. Trying to push them back.
Wow.
And
So, obviously, I assume that people watching this will want to know the answer to this question, Dave, and obviously only answer this if you're comfortable with it. Would you have killed somebody at that point?
yeah. Have I? I'm not going to say. Would I? And if it's between me or a or a colleague or anyone undeserving, or it's a civilian, yeah.
Do you have any idea how many you would have potentially in that particular set of circumstances?
No. My main role was still in the mortars, so I was an MFC, a mortar fire controller. So my job would be forward line, observing with binoculars, got me up out, and putting targets down where I'm going to send bombs, and these mortar bombs essentially, and these can travel 4 or 5 kilometers in the air. And land in our precise location, whether that be high explosives, whether it be white phosphorus smoke to screen an area where our patrol's moving through to protect from fire and from view, or proxy where it lands over there and rains down. So
potentially quite a few.
not at that stage in at all.
Okay.
No. There was the odd firefight, but you kind of like I had a position 700 meters, and I've got a video somewhere of me with a machine gun GPNG firing into that position 700 meters away. The attack ceased. We don't know if it was me. We don't know if it was. We don't know. I worked closely with the snipers and observing positions where Taliban are using children to move into locations.
Gosh.
So we observed two sniper pair move onto a roof line once the kids had dispersed, hid behind what they thought they was hid behind. And my mate Jono decides, right, enough's enough. I said, as soon as he picks that rifle up, Jono hits it. Took him out one shot, and he was about 1.5 kilometers away. We had to make that decision. It was him or us.
That's over a mile away, right?
Wow. Around about a mile. But it might have been just shy of a mile, I think it was, the shot. But then you look the next day, you've got positions being set up on the hill right next to you where they're setting up dushkas, PKMs, all sorts of weapon systems, ready to fire onto your location.
Wow.
And again, Jono, being a good sniper, hit the positions, hit one of them, the rest of them backed off, and they didn't come back. And it's about protecting not only yourselves, but also the civilians around you as well. But more so for the warfighting, it was about looking after the individuals, the children. And bit of a horrible situation during that period. We had General Petraeus coming over, the American general. He was in charge of the American Army at that time, and he was coming over for a ground brief, and a few of us corporal stroke seniors on OPL got together, and we had to find points on the map, key points of interest to explain to him, and give him a bit of a ground brief. And as we're looking through with the binoculars, we see two young kids playing down below with a stone, kicking it about. And I glanced across, and I said to my mate, I says, that's my X-ray next to that tree there, about 300 meters away from their location. I says, anything that kicks off there, I'm going to fire into that. That's known as X-ray 11.
Right.
And as I said that, I looked to the left, and the kids were being red mist, blown to pieces, absolutely blown to smithereens. And we just dropped everything and just straight to the floor. And hysterical, bizarre. Knowing them kids were there 1 minute, and then they're gone. All because of a Taliban placing IEDs, what they thought would be a strategic position in someone's village, which I find, still to this day, you'll find weird, thinking that we patrol through and get hit. And as a result of it, kids are dead. It was shocking. And the culture was a big shock as well then, because it was buried within 12 hours with cloths, over the top of the sticks. So really hard time there with that. And then we came up OPL, and then we was back at Fort Minden, right from there. I'll just touch on one thing there. Is a guy from Staler Ridge, or was a guy, Sean Dawson. He died at 19 during an incident where there was an ambush set up. I can't mention too much on it. But ultimately he died as a result of a firefight, essentially. And he was the only soldier we lost there, and we lost him on Valentine's Day. Such a credit to, he was a sniper. Such a credit to the regiment, but a fantastic lad as well. And we still celebrate his, obviously what happened every year, not remembrance. His death goes to the Staler Ridge remembrance parades. Does a bit of a vegan and stuff like that, but yeah, really nice bloke, and just sad to see him go, really. Difficult.
Must be incredibly difficult. I mean, even just like listening to your stories, Dave, I don't even have words to describe some of the things that you must have seen whilst you were over there. And I think it's very difficult when you haven't experienced it to truly understand what you've been through.
Yeah.
I can sit here and I can listen to it and I can imagine. And it's weird, right? Because I arc back to that television show, or I'll arc back to, films that I've watched and things like that. And it's like, and I'll watch that and I think it's just on my TV. It's great. But people like yourself who have genuinely have been there and experienced that type of loss, because it's still a loss to you. I mean, do you know what I mean?
He's a family member.
Yeah, regiment. I just find that incredibly difficult. And then how you can sit there now and you can talk about it, and I can see sometimes, and there's parts of that where you've got emotional. I can see that because I'm sat right next to you. I can see it. You know, when you mentioned earlier, and as you know, I lost my dad a few months ago. When you mentioned earlier about when you were training some of your new recruits, and that mum came up to you and said that he knew his dad. I could see when you said that how emotional that makes you, but I can see how proud you are of what you've done.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So are we towards the end of your career now?
So we're at, so that's my first tour of Afghanistan. I did 3 over the period. Oh, okay. 2 years. So from 2000 and, let's say 2009 to 2012. So over a 3-year period.
Right.
In fact, yeah, because two of the tours were in Cyprus. So the first tour is now over. We all go back. We all get our medals given to us. It's quite a nice time that for me. I'm not big headed or anything, but my family were all there, and I had a bit of a citation read over the radio by one of the commanding officers, explaining about my accurate fire and taint fire.
What do you mean you're not big-headed? It's not about being big-headed.
No, but
You've just done what you've just done. You've come back and you've been recognised.
yeah,
That's not being big-headed, Dave. That's being...
I was proud.
So you should be, mate.
I didn't realise at the time nothing was said, and then when it came out, and I see my mum and my dad beaming with smiles. It made me feel like I had a purpose there. But at the same time, when you leave somewhere like that, when you've been on the war front, you come home, trying to get back into that transition of going back into normal family life. I've got a couple of kids by this day. Well, I've got 3 kids, one to my ex-wife, and I've got 2 young kids. One of them on my motor course, he was born in Cyprus when I couldn't even get back for. So I've not seen much of his life, this Ethan, and trying to adjust back into that normality was extremely difficult. And for me, I got a call 2 weeks later and said, "Would you like to redeploy? We need someone to go out." And I said, "Yes, we're right in a heartbeat."
Because it was easier being over there than it was being here.
Send me back. Yeah. Because I knew what I needed to do out there. I didn't know what I was doing back home. I couldn't deal with certain things. I was finding the minuscule jobs in the house difficult, and I'm seeing plates that stacking up. I'm thinking, we didn't have plates in Afghanistan. Why is that not clean? Why is that put away?
Right.
So there was all these little triggers which was causing eruptions within the family. So for me, I just needed to get back out. So me and a guy called Dave Connor, we went back out, flew out there, and yeah, back into the next tour. So I'd done like Musakala. I'm now into Lashkar, Stoke, Nadi Ali, quite high intense areas on the green zone. We knew the effects of what was going to happen. And I mean, once we've gone back through the role of Bastion, go for our acclimatisation, have a bit of a laugh, go and have a drink, go and get some pizza and this, that and the other. We're now back helmets on, waiting at the HLS, waiting for our helicopters to go back into this war zone. But my mum actually asked me on the phone during that period, what was there, says, "What's it like?" I said, "Well, you can imagine Jesus walking down the road there and you wouldn't bat an eyelid, because it's that barren and it's that old, you know, like Jerusalem, mud compounds and what have you." So now I'm back in a helicopter, flying out, Dave at the side. We're going into this new location. Can't remember the name of it, but it was in Nadi Ali. And when we landed early hours in the morning, dropped down off the helicopter, pinned down until he flew off again, run towards the compound where I was going to be staying for the next God knows how long. I met one of the guys that I was on my instructor's course with. So he's like, "Come in, blah, blah." So we had a bit of a chat, asked him how it was. He said, "Yeah," he says, "don't be expecting helicopters in that." I mean, I said, "Why?" He says, Sea King was shot here the other week, shot down. I think the pilots made it. He said, but it's intense here. There's been a lot of incidents, daily fighting this and the other. So we'll catch up in the morning. He said, "You're on stag now." So I jumped straight on the stag on the radio, stayed up for a few hours. We had no accommodation at the time because obviously we came in early hours in the morning. So me and my mate Dave, we get a cot bed, we have a mosquito net over the top of it, we lay there, really hot temperature, woke up to the sound of gunfire and then realised it was ricocheting off the top of our mosquito nets. Over the wall, bing, 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 before, this is a rude awakening. So, and that was pretty intense. 12 lads in there, and they've been in there for 3 or 4 months now. Not seeing the 4 wall, outside of the 4 walls, because one of the guys on a patrol prior to this was triple amputee, I believe he was. So it was quite intense out there. IEDs everywhere. sniper positions, Taliban positions everywhere. So you literally hunkered down in this position. Hardly any mail getting in, hardly any food. It was literally you're down to your bare minimum here. So I spent some time there with them, which was a bit of an eye opener. But when I got over there, it was a sense of relief as well. I thought, I'm out of there now. I can relax a bit more, switch off slightly to a certain degree, and be able to be calm at night time when I'm trying to sleep. And then I went off with a patrol. I can't mention the name of the patrol, but essentially it was a good friend of mine called Jeff. He was the commander, 12 lads, and it was serious warfighting. We literally got our first brief. We headed off to a checkpoint in the morning. That with the platoon commander. Where's your flat? Your forward line of enemy troops. 300 metres that location. Right, get your gear on. We're going for a fight. That was supposed to be in the morning. We'd go out there, fan out, take the position, have a fight with them. They'd back off. We'd then come back to the base. We'd rebomb our ammunition, recharge all the ammunition, and what have you, get some food. Lunchtime, do the same again, same position.
Wow.
Do the same again, have some food, clean everything off, get everything good to go, and on an evening we do the same. We'd then come back from that patrol at that night to the next checkpoint. Right, boss, where's your forward line of enemy troop? And this happened for like 6 weeks, 3 fights a day.
Wow.
And some of them really intense. And I've wrote a bit of a diary on this, and one of the chapters on it's called My Lucky Bullet. I had a 5.56 in my pocket, and we got ambushed. Kids on radios telling Taliban where we were, and we got it from every angle. Hollywood scene, straight through into an irrigation ditch. There were lads screaming and all sorts, and then all of a sudden we had a field for about 200 metres we had to run through, and there were bullets pinging off the floor right under our feet. And how none of us got killed that day, and there was a bit more to it than that. But once we got out at that point there, and we all managed to get safe, we took this corner and ended up going down a canal side, and then on the radio we could hear the radio chat, and they said, hit the big one, hit the big one. We had hoodlums and all these different type of metal detectors, and we picked up on 2 big metal signatures in the ground, and it was 2 IEDs, 75 kilogram bombs each, designed to flip an armoured vehicle over, and he was trying to blow us up with this. And then luckily I managed to get back to camp. Snipers firing at us all the way back, and we got back in, pulled this bullet out, kissed it. I said to my mate Dave, I'm never going back out there again. That was dodgy. That was really intense. We had drones above us, trying to help us, but more so than that, they was observing the way our tactics were, and it was on point. We'd push forward to the Taliban saying we're under attack, we're overwhelmed. They pushed back. Then they just set positions everywhere to take us on. And how we got out of there that day unscathed, it was beyond me. And Brimstone, which is the engineers at the time, they came out the next morning, and they dug them out and confirmed. One was on phone operated, and one was on a wire press release. Wow, press release switch was on. So lucky day of that. But I enjoyed that tour. It was a really good tour. It was intense, which I wanted at the time.
Just what you've said that, right? You just described all of that, and then you were like, oh yeah, but I love that tour. That was great, that tour.
It's an adrenaline kick, you know. It's
I get that, but that sounds insane.
It was, yeah, it was. But I trusted the people I was with. Trusted my lucky bullet that day. But ultimately I knew I had family to come back to. I mean, that attack there, when I got into that irrigation ditch, I said, I'm going home to see my kids today. Well, not today, but obviously I'm making it through this. And it's having that will and desire to push through it, and the hard times, and when it becomes extreme and you think, I've not got a kind of else chance here, if you just use bullets everywhere, you kind of like, you just get on with it. 5 metre run, crawl, 5 metre run, crawl, just watching these bullets just pass you by. And yeah, but it wasn't a really good tour. It was intense. The time flew, but the platoons I was with, I mean, coming after 3 days, 3 attacks in one day, having a laugh about everything.
For 6 weeks?
Yeah, around about 6 weeks, yeah. And then when I eventually moved away from them, because obviously I was the mortar fire controller, I only have one of them. I kind of like got a specific role within that team. When I came away from that, there was a sense of relief, but I kind of like wanted to jump back in again.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back on that front line. And then that tour kind of whittled out. Then that was my second tour. I have a sense. So I've gained experience now. I'm in a position of command. I'm relied upon. And I felt a big team player compared to when I first walked through the gates after my training into my regiment. And then I'm on back to Cyprus.
Yeah.
Cyprus is starting to draw down now. All the companies have gone through their rotations, and we're coming towards the end of it now. So we're now training the next regiment.
Right. Okay.
Going out to see us and what have you. And me being me, so right, where next? And I got the phone, someone says, I want to go to Afghanistan. Who's going? Oh, the Yorkshire Regiment are going. Right, okay. Where are they based? Germany. Right, give me the number. Rang him up, spoke to a guy, Davey Mossop, who picked up the phone in Germany. Hey mate, you motors? Yeah. You going to Afghan? Yeah, in about 9 months' time. Right, I'm coming. What? I need your details for your regimental careers management officer. I want to come across. I want to attach myself to your regiment, train you up. I'm coming out with you. So that was what happened. Spoke to my ex-wife at the time and said, right, going back to Afghanistan. When? Tomorrow? I said, no, don't worry, calm down. We're going to Germany. We're going to be based out there. I'm going to run out their regiment, train for it, and then I'm going to go again. And she's like, you're mad. I said, no, I'm not mad. I just want to go out there. I want to do things the right way. Just going back to my first tour of Afghanistan, I just want to mention one thing about after the incident with Sean Dawson happened, I realised I didn't want to fight much anymore. So we moved to another location. It was more relaxed. And I seen the different side of war, or of my role there. Now, I'll come back to the last tour in a minute, but we go on patrol and I'd speak to the shuras, the elders and stuff like that. And I arranged for one. It was me and I had 7 guys with me. The schools were being targeted by the Taliban.
Right.
No girls could go to school. No teachers could go. They didn't want them all to go. So they'd send letters, threatening letters. You're going to blow the school. We're going to do this, that, and the other. So when I was patrolling out and finding all these pockets of information, I set up this shore of an elder. And I spoke to him and I says, obviously through the interpreter, I was sat there, how are you finding this war? And he just laughed. I says, what's he laughing at? He says, they've been fighting here since Genghis Khan days. So this is what we do. And I said, well, rather than fight, what can we do for you? And he says, help people. So the next patrol I went, I seen this, what like an IED, but it was a wire coming out of an old mortar round or mortar shell. And there were 2 kids playing with it. So I stopped them, walked over, and I looked at it. And it weren't an IED, but I looked across at this guy and this young kid. He's 7 or 8 year old. And there was something different about him. And it was only after stopping and pausing I realised he was an albino child.
Right.
So to the Taliban, well, he's a threat then to the Taliban because obviously he doesn't fit into this, the what have you. His dad had got a marker pen and colored his hair, and he was just, his skin was dry as anything. And I said to John and a few of the other guys, I said, what we're going to do here? So we're going to have to help this guy. I says, and then you look around, you see kids there with cuts on their feet and stuff. Says, we're going out every day patrolling, looking for Taliban. We're not looking to help. We're just looking to fight. Let's change the dynamics. So I spoke to this elder and I said, I'm coming out tomorrow. Get all your guys, all your kids, anyone that's got an issue, make sure the albino kid comes. I've got something for him and we'll treat them. So rather than taking machine guns out, I took med packs. We took obviously enough weapons to sustain just in case we came under attack, but I took more med packs. I took some dermatology cream. I took him some Oakley sunglasses, what I got off the Americans, and we just sat them all on a line and just treated every single one of them. And that effect, doing that, had a better effect than going out there fighting the Taliban and pushing them back. Because it's all about hearts and minds. It's all about winning the trust of the locals. They seen us as an aggressive force out there.
Yeah.
That period of probably 4 to 6 weeks while I was doing that, patrolling and med packs and stuff, they seen us as a force of good. And that kind of changed my ways in further down the line in Afghanistan and places like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, making that one decision that day has changed the dynamics completely for me. It's not always about fighting.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So take me to your last tour.
Yeah, so obviously goes across to, it's funny actually, we all, me ex-wife and the 2 kids, we've all got shorts, t-shirts on. We're in Cyprus, getting this plane flying out, and all of a sudden I see snow. Oh my word. We've not got any warm kit. We're literally just shorts and t-shirts. So straight to Germany, right, where can we buy some clothes from? Straight to shopping, get a lot of clothes, move into the house, go out the next day, meet the platoon. So generally speaking, infantry platoon, you always get 1 or 2 misdemeanors. You always get ones that have been drinking, fighting and stuff like that. Someone that's been AWOL for a week and stuff. And I'm walking down this corridor to meet the new platoon, and I've got 18 lads in front of me. So, all right, lads, so do you? So I'm joining you, ready for Afghan and stuff like that. What are you in front of the platoon commander for? Oh, I've been fighting armed drugs and this, that, and the other. There were so many of them. They're all ill-disciplined, and I thought, and I've come into this platoon on the hope that I could take them to war. Obviously, they go through the process then. Met some of the commanders, brilliant lads, really close friends now. And yeah, so I joined the Yorkshire Regiment, attached to them for around about 2 years. Did a lot of training out in Senilager in Germany and what have you, and then we deployed to Afghanistan for what would be my final tour in 2011 back end, early 2012 it looks. Obviously been out there twice before, loads of experience. I picked up some of the lingo, could speak Pashto to a certain degree. Cal, days a week, say hello, how are you, how's your name, and so on and so forth. So I felt relatively comfortable going out there. And us, as mortars, we went out, I took a section out with me, and we ended up going to Lash Brigade. I thought it was amazing. I thought, yeah, in here now. No more fighting around us, so to speak. Literally in this nice comfy place. I've got a gym there, I've got this, that and the other. And the routine was a bit sluggish. We literally get up and like, what do I do today, lads? Let's go for a little jog around the camp, and then we'll go back and go to the gym and maybe go and get our heads down for an hour or two. But there were no real patrols and stuff like that. So it started to get frustrating, especially when you got the SES flying in these massive armoured vehicles going, right, there's some ammunition off you. Yeah, I have that. Where you go in just over there and you could just hear it going off and you're thinking, I want to be that side.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, for us, it was quite frustrating after about a week, 2 weeks being there, although it was steady. And then I got a call saying, you need to go and plug the gap, where you have to Nari Siraj, Nes North. Okay. Who are you working with? Well, you're working with the Gurkhas. They're under massive attacks day in, day out. Like, send us let's go. So when I got there, I met some other guys from mortars from a different regiment, and they were like infantry, and we worked with them then. So we're in our own little separate compound with ammunition everywhere, good to go. We're hearing about what attacks they're getting daily. We're Taliban jumping over the walls, throwing grenades over the walls. I thought, this is exactly what I want. And as strange as it sounds, who was it? It was me. I was just wanting to be pumped up all the time, and I wanted to be able to live on the edge. So we go out on patrols. There was a guy there, I can't remember his name, but we had different checkpoints that belonged to us. And there was a guy there that was, his brother had been killed by the Taliban. He was a local, but his brother was killed by the Taliban, so it was like a revenge thing. So he'd come out on patrols with us, and he'd be first in line to go and tell the Taliban. So it was like, wow, really, really ninja sort of thing. But yeah, loads happened on that tour. It's probably the most harrowing tour I've had. Deaths in camp, lad took his own life. We had to go clear. Young lad as well, his wife, having difficulties with his wife or his partner at home, and it just decided to shoot himself in the head. So that was horrific. The one that hit me there, though, I mean, we go out on patrols. We took over. The commander at the time says, right, the enemy getting too close to us there. They had mortar points, so they'd mark a ground and then put a mortar base plate there and fire straight into our position and try to attack us constantly. So we went in there. We was going to go over the I think it's the Valkyries music in a helicopter, fly in there and land in this area and take over their position and a position next to them, so they couldn't stay there. So we're basically pushing their forward line and troops back. So I went with a team of Gurkhas, a platoon of Gurkhas. Oh, sorry, probably less than that. Probably about 2 sections down. So about 16 plus ourselves, plus a forward air control who calls an airstrikes, and we're going to this checkpoint. And we're in there for 2 or 3 days monitoring, gardening being done by local villagers, farmers out there, people tending to the crops. We've got kids playing. It's the presence of the normal. And what we're looking for is the presence of the abnormal, absence of the normal. And this one day it just went, all hell broke loose. Gunfire straight away. Screams a man down. My mate Gadge, once Corporal Gadge Bahadagurung, he's on the roof. He's just been shot straight in the head. He's being dragged off the roof now. I'm like, what do we do here now? I've got these young Gurkhas, some of them, some experience. The guy that I trained for SES, Sergeant Lack, Captain Waters in there, and they're all panicking. Everyone's panicking. And I thought, it's my job now as a mortar fire controller. I've got to fire onto my own position now. So my lads are on the mortar line, just to be further up, ready to fire at any position. I'd already predetermined which targets I was going to have, just in case it hit the fan. I had to drop near my position, and I'm talking like within 20 meters. My mortar bombs will kill you within 40 meters. The road, wow. Fragmentation, 550. Lethal, decapitation could be 190 meters. So I'm now firing probably 20 meters the other side of my compound wall. in order to flush the Taliban out, get them out of my position. High explosive rounds coming in straight towards me. And I'm thinking, this is my role now. If it goes wrong, this is where I just go career's over, or my life's over, and the lives of those inside of it.
So you could have genuinely have hit your own.
I could have generally hit civilians. I could have generally hit myself and those within my compound, the Gurkhas I was with, and caps and mortars and what have you. So it's a really tough decision to say, fire, cancel at my command, and I'm now hearing mortar bombs rain down towards my position. But effectively and thankfully, it stopped the attack so that we can get Gadge off the roof correctly. We can deal with him and then get him extracted quickly. So I had to fire quite a lot. No, shot straight in the head. And he was taken back to Camden later that day. And then because of close proximity and the actual attack and that day, that's probably the most harrowing. And still haunts me to this day. Although the older, that one more in particular, because it's still fresh in my mind. It's still
sounds horrendous.
Yes, the heat signature. You can smell the heat. You can smell the dust. I can still feel the effects of it. But ultimately, when I looked across and I seen the bullet wound in his head, and knowing he wouldn't make it, it was just horrific.
But not just that, to make that decision to call for that fire in.
There was no choice other than that. It was literally do that or they're just coming over the walls. So it worked. And then obviously later on, there was a bit more activity like that. We called in Apaches and all sorts and fired, like orchestrated attacks, coordinated attacks with them as well. But it was probably the hardest tour.
Is that why it was your last tour?
No, it was the last tour because the Yorkshire Regiment wasn't going back out there.
Right.
When they came back, or when we came back and the last rotation had been done, we were then going in. I mean, we got pulled in and they said, right, prepare for the next war. We're out of Afghanistan now. We now want to deal with something else. Oh, by the way, in 6 weeks you go to Kenya to do some training. So I've now got back to see the kids and I'm like, packing again, and the kids came up to me. Ethan's gone, Dad, are you going back to war? I said, no, go to Kenya. Is that war? No. Safari. That's what I told him. So yeah, then we went back from there, and it was at the time when the army redundancy came through, where you could apply for, I was on tranche 3, you could apply for redundancy and they give you a decent amount of payoff to
you left for that?
I could, yeah, I mean, I was digging trenches in Kenya with one of my old bosses, and from my old regiment, from the King's Regiment, what was now the Duke of Lancaster Regiment, and we was talking, and all of a sudden he came over and says, do you know you're qualified to leave on this redundancy? I said, am I? He said, yeah. I'm digging trenches where I've got wildebeest and giraffe and all sorts running down me. I'm thinking, I should be helping the kids.
Yeah.
Not with these lads again. I said, and I wear no spring chicken then. I've just dodged bullets for 3 tours, plus obviously Iraq further back. I thought, I'm not young enough to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I need a change, and I wanted that stability in life again. So I knew I needed to get my army head off and put a civvy head on.
So you left?
Yeah, I decided to leave, and I left in December 2013.
Correct.
Is when I had my final post. So I went from Germany down to near Telford, and then that was pretty much it. Then,
wow.
Kids out, see you later, do your own thing, and yeah, moved on from there.
So that was 13 years ago?
Yeah, 13 years.
So obviously we would normally talk about all of your other jobs.
Yeah.
Did you have many after that point?
I tried a few, yeah. I went to do my health and safety course. They either give you lump sums, $2,500 pots of money into one grad training. I only did one, I did 2. I did close protection with a good friend of mine that was in my regiment. Yeah, we really stuck with that side of it, so I went and did my NEBOSH health and safety.
Why did you not want to continue to do something in that sort of line of work?
I wanted to keep my foot in there, but the problem is at that point is Afghanistan and Iraq had been going on for that long. Close protection teams were paid an absolute fortune, but because everyone were leaving thinking there's better money in close protection, the money dropped down significantly. So where lads were paying like 3, 4, sometimes more, £100 a day, it's now dropping to like £100 a day.
Right.
And
it's not worth it.
I weren't prepared to lose it right for that.
Okay. So Paul, who owns C2C,
yeah,
how were you ever?
We served in Iraq together.
Yeah.
We spent a bit of time in what's known as the breadbasket.
Yeah, let me just pause for 1 sec. You okay?
Everyone look at this one.
I know it is.
I need key 160 for if you're in the
That's all right. No, don't worry about it. I can cut this bit out.
Sorry.
Am I still recording here?
I think you are.
There's all that.
Yeah.
So,
I'll rub it 10 minutes.
Mate, honestly, this is amazing for me.
yes.
You don't watch any of these, Hayley. Watch this one.
I watched the quick snippets.
Yeah.
I watched them.
Yeah,
And
This is an interesting one. Very.
what floor is it on?
Where are you?
Woodlands.
Second, I think.
Second floor. Could Brooke do it on her own? Are you sure? Because if not, I'm going to have to leave the phones to ring out.
It's fine.
Which
Oh,
way?
No. Just let it go.
Right.
Sorry, mate. Okay.
So yeah, I worked with Paul. I believe it was a breadbasket hall in Basra in 2003. We spent a bit of time together on there. And then after Iraqi left the army, then he decided to leave. He got with who's now his wife,
Right.
and settled down back into civil life, really.
So between leaving the army, what rank did you get to?
Sergeant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from leaving the army to meeting back up with Paul, how long was that?
I'm going to say I left in December 2013, so we're looking at about 2017, so quite 4 years after I left. And it was only by chance, really. It was on Facebook together, but I have some land over in Stalybridge and I had a lot of rat issues and stuff like that, and I'd seen him be doing pest control, so I called him over, and we had a good chat and stuff like that. And he kept mentioning about solar panels, and I was thinking, okay, I didn't understand what he was saying. He was on about proofing them and stuff, and this is how his business is going, and is mad busy and blah blah blah. And anyway, we had that chat. Nothing ever happened. I left the rats to it and what have you. And I did speak to him for a bit then. And then it was towards my back of. I was working at the time in 2 mills in Oldham for a company called Ultimate Products. Fantastic company. Do all your household products and stuff like that. But I was part of the maintenance team for that. So I was in maintenance and construction as a maintenance supervisor. And loved the job, but I'd come towards the end of it.
Right.
And for some reason, I got in touch with Paul. I can't remember why. I was having a chat with him, and he says, "What are you up to?" I said, "Well, I've just done a massive project there, office refurb, and I've reached my peak, so I'm looking at new jobs." He said, "Mate, I'm desperate for someone." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I'm really busy at the moment. I can't handle the amount of work that's coming in. I need to take someone on. In fact, it's coming out for a weekend."
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, no probs." So I met him at the weekend. Anyway, went out with him for the day. Now, I know his wife, Karen, really well. We went to school together.
Right.
So I knew Karen. Anyway, I goes out for the day and I loved it. And I thought, brilliant to meet up with them again. It's like being back in the army. We've got that same banter, that same communication and stuff like that. And it was really good and I really enjoyed it. I felt really happy coming away from it. And I gets back to his driveway and Karen says, "How'd you get on?" I says, "What do you mean? Do you like it? Would you go into it?" I said, "Yeah, I would, yeah." And Paul said, "Right, well, let's do it. Come into the business and help." And I said, "I'll come in and I want to help you grow." And that's where I see it going, really. And it was a no-brainer, really. I wanted to be around someone I could trust and someone I knew well, someone I felt comfortable with,
Yeah.
as a friend. I wanted to get away from that area, what was already in. I wanted to get out of construction, really.
Is it difficult coming out of the army and being able to have that same trust with someone that hasn't ever served before?
Trust in terms of opening yourself up. I'd never opened myself up fully, apart from I was diagnosed with PTSD at about 2017. Tried taking my life a couple of times. I don't want to go too much into that, but
That's fine.
just a broad brush on it. I just thought there's nothing for me anymore. I'm done. I ended up at Tameside Hospital under the mental health act, and I stayed there for a number of weeks, assessed by doctors and what have you. And then I managed to get some really fantastic help from Tameside one, from a chap there, I can't remember his name for the life of me, but more importantly, the military veterans services, a nurse called Sophie. She took me on board, and I went for regular meetings for a number of years, where she helped me compartmentalise everything, but go through the cognitive behavioural therapy to get myself on track. And it was down to obviously the incidents that I've dealt with in the past and a few other incidents in civilian life.
But unfortunately, that's not an unusual story, is it?
No, it's not though. No. For me, I'm glad I got that help when I did. I regret doing what I did in terms of trying to take my life, but I wouldn't be here without that help. But there's too many people, and I've lost a good few friends, military friends, and some civilian friends as a result of traumas that they can't deal with, that they were just struggling with. And I mentioned Sean Dawson, one of his closest friends that was serving alongside him. He succumbed to his demons as a result of not being able to process what happened with Sean. So all these incidents. So, I mean, without digressing too much, going back to what you're saying about communication and trusting within civilian life now, for me, it was about not being able to explain myself and not being able to say, look, I've got issues, but hey, and I didn't realise at the time I had issues, only when it was pointed out to me by my brother after my jaw got smashed in, bless another subject.
Okay.
He said, you've got PTSD. I didn't realise I was always this tough soldier that'll deal with anything.
Yeah.
And just brush everything off to the side. It done that to me and stuff. But trying to explain that to people is really difficult. It was only so for that manager said, like, cut the BS day. Just tell me how it is. Tell me what's happened and we'll process everything. So me personally, I used to be an extrovert and then I became more of an introvert. I wanted to just close in and just keep myself protected so no one else would get hurt as a result of what I was thinking or dealing with. My mum never knew half of it, 90% of it, let's say. I just won't tell them. No one knew. Everyone's got their own problems. I didn't want to deal with mine as well. So I kind of like just closed in really and just shut myself out for the world. But in terms of that, and what I did is I kept myself busy. I was always working. If I weren't working, I was literally hounding everyone for a job.
Right.
Or just keep myself busy because I knew I had time to think about other things. That's where the problems start kicking in.
Which is why you always kept yourself busy.
100%, yeah.
So Karen and Paul ask you to join C2C.
Yeah.
How long have you been with them now?
Nearly 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've loved every minute of it. I won't change it.
So tell us a little bit about what you do as a pest control.
Yeah, so when I first came into it, Paul taught me a lot. I spent a lot of time on the ground with him, understanding people's problems, understanding the different species and this, that, and the other. And then he put me through a number of courses to make sure I was fully qualified. So I've done my RSPH level 2. I've done my basic order principles, cockroach, bedbugs, fleas, all these different random courses I've gone and done just to get myself up to speed. And then literally took out on all the different contracts to understand the problems with the contracts, what golf courses where the issues normally arise, but also how to deal with them effectively. And Paul's one of these where you're going to do it, you're going to do it right. So we spent a lot of time training for that.
That's the army, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And you can see that with him. His van's meticulous, his work's meticulous. Everything about him is set out in stone for a reason. So it's well drilled into him. Timing's a big for me and Paul. So we're always turning up on point. I patrolled down here today till a point I came to 5-2 so I can come in the door. So about 10 minutes walking around, ready for it.
I want to know if you've got this thing, you know, like when you're seeing films and stuff. So like if I ask you a question about where a pen is on a desk out in my office, would you know? So do you know to a degree?
To a certain degree, yeah.
Okay.
I've done. We used to do that with the surveillance side. You go in a room and you'd have to memorize everything, go out for a run, get thrashed, and then come back and say where it is.
Yeah. Wow.
No, we don't have good. It's all about photographic memory. It's understanding things on there like your gas key over there. That sticks in my mind now. But I always remember back as a kid.
It's been
hard, yeah. I'm looking at stuff and observing, and it's about knowing what's a friend, what's not a friend. And I still remember my mum's old boss's registration plate from when I was like 5-year-old, DHB 108. He worked at Hills Biscuits, and he had a BMW 7 Series BMW DHB 108. So things like that stick in my head, and certain incidents and stuff like that will always stick in your head. Oh, so that's a bit of pressure on me or what. But yeah, this is digressing slide.
Sorry, we're going back this way. Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the pest control, Paul's given me every single tool to go out there on my own confidently and deal with any insect, any rodent and what have you. But more so than anything, giving people the right information and the right knowledge and advice moving forward from it.
So I've noticed that with you. So obviously you've done a job for me already. You got rid of some fleas in a property that we'd been given to sub. And I think we touched on when you walked into the office, and I think Haley was mentioning about other companies that we've used in the past. And it'd just be a case of, yeah, we can do that, it's fine. But when I asked you about it, you literally told me every detail, whether I needed to know that detail or not. But I think it's more because you want us to know that you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, it's about instilling your confidence in your client or your customer and whatever. But I also reflect back to stuff like when I used to go and get my car serviced. They say, oh yeah, there's a few issues with it, but we've sorted that now. That's X, Y, and Z.
X, Y, and Z. This is how much it's going to cost you.
Well, I want to know what I've done. Yeah, I want to know so that I can probably stop that happening in the future. As the culture's gone, why is it gone? Rather than just coming back every couple of years. So when I go to a customer's house, I'll always be thorough. I'll explain what I'm doing, the process of what I'm doing, the reasons why I'm doing it, understanding the fault, trusting the fault, so you can then counteract it and then explaining to the customer what will happen in the future, what shouldn't happen in the future, and just giving them the full package really, and all the while listening in an attentive way and dealing with their needs. When I'm going to a customer, bearing in mind it's pest, the customer is always stressed.
Yeah.
They've got anxieties, whatever it may be.
Well, it was like me with the bees at my house.
Yeah,
you know, and it wasn't necessarily to do with me. It was that, for context, I had a hive inside my wall, that they'd got into a little hole in the wall, but it was about my kids, because obviously my kids are playing outside, and I don't want them to come out and sting them or whatever. So you'd come, you'd had a lot, you'd done a thermal camera imaging for me and show me where it was and where the hive was. And then it's been sorted now. So, but it was interesting to know, because when you'd sent me that video of like the hive, like I think I forwarded that to about 7 people. Just from the curiosity point. Have you seen this? Look how good this is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's important really, because if you're thorough and you're open with people, you gain that trust almost instantaneously. And I like to think 99.9% of people I've dealt with, I've got that trust with, and I always have that trust with.
So where do you cover?
So domestically, we'll cover Greater Manchester.
Yeah.
On the pest side.
Yeah.
If it's stuff like netting or solar power proofing or bees, we'll go northwest or south UK. We've been up Scotland, we've been to Cornwall.
Oh wow.
Yeah, doing big projects.
So what do you do in terms of anything? How does it work?
Anything, yeah.
Right, okay.
So everything from your small Lasses Niger, which is the black garden ant, all the way through to your Rastus norvegicus, the brown Norwegian rat, squirrels, fox we tend not to, we steer clear of them. We'll do a mold treatment, but again, it's one of them few and far between, so we try to stay clear of them. I've already mentioned about ghoul control with the AI systems that we use. We'll do netting. There's not a pest we won't deal with.
Okay.
If we haven't dealt with it before, we'll quickly understand what's going on. If we need to go and get the advice or courses to deal with that said pest, we will do. For instance, woodworms, we've dealt with woodworm now, treatments quite. Our day is so varied. So 1 minute I could be on the ground looking at Betty's black garden ants, to then underneath John's flooring to look for rats, to going straight onto Sally's roof to deal with her pigeons, to going taking a wall out to deal with Uncle Brian's bees. You know, and that's just literally one after the other. So I'm driving down the road, I'm thinking about dangers on the road, but I'm also thinking, I've got to deal with ants. Now it's that time of year where they're not feeding now, so what am I going to do? Well, I have to put residual spray down. I've come out of that house, I'm putting that residual spray down. Now I've got to think about wasps in someone's house. How am I going to do it? What chemical have I got? Is it safe for the environment? Is there an access point? Do I need to work at height? Thinking about all this, and then I'll go to a rat job, right? What's the issue with the rats? Why are they here? What's the purpose for it? Right, it's the bins. Let's look at next doors. So everyone's a thorough understanding of the pest before you even get in there, and then dealing with that situation in there. But not only dealing with that situation, the person's anxieties, and how to stop that once and for all. Because ultimately, at C2C, our end game is we're going to your property, we deal with the situation, we don't want to see you then.
When you're in the army, you're always in the army, aren't you?
Yeah.
Even just from the way that you've explained that to me, the detail at which you do, the fact that you're talking about entrance and exit points and things like that, and I get that pest control companies will do that, but the level of detail that you've just described, it's always with you, isn't it? So you put everything that you have ever done, and you will continue to put in everything that you will always do.
It's got to be detailed, it's got to be structured, it's got to be done for a reason, because otherwise it's not worth it.
So, if anybody that's listening now has got an issue, how do they contact C2C Pest Control?
So they can pop into the office, which on Boodle Street is an energy house next to works on the Crown Division. Sign, they can see us there. They go on our website.
So it's just near IKEA, right?
Yeah, near IKEA on Boodle Street. Parking's limited, so get there early or walk round. We've got Liz in there who's more than happy to take any questions and give advice. And if she hasn't got the information, she'll get in touch with one of us specialists down on the ground, or contact Paul direct via Liz. Then you've got our website, which is c2cpestcontrol.co.uk.
Yeah.
On there, on the landing page, you've got the email address for any inquiries or new information you want to pass through. The email address is probably the easiest way, and nothing gets missed with that. And then our telephone number, which is 0161 821 1851. We can get all of as well.
So we'll put all of that on the posts that we do. We'll put it on the socials, and any socials that you've got, we'll put on. So I've got a bit of a tradition at the end of my podcasts, Dave, where we haven't touched on it, but I don't think we've got time to touch on it, is the AI stuff, right? So I'm really big into AI. So what I've done is I ask the 3 different AIs that I use, which is Claude, Chat, and Gemini, and I ask it a question, and I just relevant to you and what you do currently. You choose one, A, B, or C. You don't know which one it is, but A, B, or C. Just choose any of them. C? No, not that one. Okay, so your question is, oh, hang on, it's not on that one, is it? Ah, there it is. Your question is, what specific conditions around my property are attracting, this doesn't give you a specific, actually, are attracting them, and how can I fix it? So let's take ants, for instance. What specific conditions are attracting ants into my property, and what do I do to solve it?
Good amount of soil, because obviously the queen wants to be able to utilise that soil to best effect with her nesting. So generally you'll find them on the flags and stuff like that, on the large stones. They'll have nests in there in close proximity to water and food source, essentially. So if you're one of these that like a sugar butt, you're gonna dispel all the sugar over your counter, you walk away and the sun will be on the nose and them ants will work their way in.
Right.
So areas to look for is make sure the house is fully sealed from ground level. And yeah, you can deal with them outside, but obviously if they're coming in, you need to establish where they're getting in. We do stuff like insect mesh, what you can put around there, bricks and what have you.
Right.
But what we generally say with ants is there's a certain time where there's feeding, there's a certain time where they're breeding. It's catching them at the right point for using that specific treatment for that. But ultimately, it's all about making sure that the outside's sealed and take away that food source. So good hygiene, good housekeeping, generally keeps them away. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward really to deal with.
Bro, thank you very much, AI. Dave, is there anything that you want to cover that we've missed?
Yeah, my story about my mum.
Oh yes, go on.
Yeah, so I was out in Afghan. I know I've mentioned that a few times. This is Miss Carol, so it's my first tour. I've got neighbour SEALs excited to see us do a fire mission. And I'm due to ring my mum just before this is kicking on. They've all got the pro cams or whatever they're called, and they're all ready to see British Army get aggressive when I'm at a fire mission. I think I fired about 80, 120 bombs that day. And I just got the phone to my mother, says, listen to this guy. Says, hey mum, you all right? Yeah, fine. So I'm now doing hand signals to my lads ready to fire, and I'm giving them like a 5 second or 5 countdown. I said, yeah, it's fine here at the moment, mate. Mum, there's nothing going on, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, all hell breaks loose. Our lads are like firing mortars, boom, 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 dropping them all down. I said, mum, we've got to go, we're under attack, put the phone down. And all the lads were laughing. Navy SEALs like, oh man, you can't, they didn't get our sense of humour.
Yeah.
So they're all a bit peeved with me, for one of the better words. And I said, don't worry about it, I'll ring her back after. But because I got so excited about this fire mission, I forgot to ring her on. So of course, a couple of days go by, I'm like, I need to ring my mum. She grabs the sat phone, rings, and she's called me every name under the sun. I've been on Sky News all night, I've not slept for 2 days. And I'm like, I'm sorry, mum, I really apologise. I said, there's a bit of a whine. Why not? I'll kill you. And she never let me live it down. But I felt bad afterwards.
So you should.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
That was horrendous.
Yeah, it was. What's it called? Socks. She's not here to kick off anymore, so. But no, it was really bad, really. I should have done it, but it was fun at the time. That was my weird sense of humour, though.
But our sense of humour, us British sense of humour, it's dark anyway, isn't it, to be fair?
Yeah. compared to an American.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of it, do they?
No.
But no, that's very funny. Dave, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
I've genuinely enjoyed
Yeah, likewise.
the chat. So yeah, no, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So thanks, mate. All right. Yes.
Cheers, Dave.
I've been drinking a cold too. Well,
I know you have. I can't believe you've been drinking it, to be honest. Mate, that was insane, that.
I could have stayed talking.
Mate, I could have done as well.
So that's amazing amount of stuff I've got. Like, but
Where's your boy? That's just like that, mate. Why do you do a book?
I've started, but my mate